Hi, I'm Steve Hopkins, and this is PongNow, an interview series discussing table tennis with some of the best players and personalities in the sport. It's my pleasure today to welcome Ernesto John Ebuen. Ernesto was a Philippine national team member before immigrating to the United States. Since his arrival, he has been one of the top players in the U.S., has had a rating over 2,600, has been in the top 10 out of U.S. players, and he has become well known in more recent years as a coach, coaching the national team and a national champion. He's now making his mark on the sport as an entrepreneur as well. Welcome to PongNow, Ernesto.
Yes, thank you, Steve, for having me in PongNow. I'm excited, and yeah, it's a pleasure.
So I see you're sitting in front of your new venture. Where are you right now?
Right now, I'm here at PingPod doing this interview. We are gently and safely trying to open and prepare the business.
So I'm gonna try to steer away from just kind of basic interview questions. Most of the people that I've been talking to in these interviews are, you know, kind of well known enough that we know most of the bio stuff and the surface interview stuff. So I'm trying very hard to capture some stories and to hear those stories from the person that actually lived them. So with that in mind, I'd like to ask a couple questions about your early years. So how old were you when you started playing?
If I remember it correctly, I started very late. I was maybe 12, somewhere around that years. So it's because it was not introduced to me earlier. It was not accessible back then as much as accessible it used to be now. So.
Well, table tennis in the Philippines is probably a wholly different thing than it is here in the U.S., where we're mostly playing in basements and stuff. Give me an idea of what it took for you to get from starting at age 12 to being successful in the Philippines and being on the national team.
Yeah, it took a lot of me and my support system, which is my parents. It's because mainly first it was not accessible throughout or in the Philippines. And
all right, what does not accessible mean? Did you not have a table? Did you not have a club?
Yes,
have a coach?
exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
So we first of all, it's not accessible in terms of like physical table tennis space. It was very limited. It was maybe a handful, not even like 5 that I know when I was playing. 5 clubs in the whole metro of Philippines, or the capital of the Philippines. And it was also difficult because we are during that time we were financially not capable of supporting such even myself, and my parents is just doing like odd jobs on the sides. So when that's what I mean about not having good access to table tennis. But
how old were you when you had that? How old were you when you got the right coach and got the right circumstance?
Not until like so I started around like maybe 12 years old. So not until I reached the national team, the junior national team, that I got a proper coaching from a professional coach. So not until then. So all throughout my starting career, it was just my father, us, trying to look for place to play, or just between me and him, who my father started almost the same year that I started playing. So imagine, our knowledge about table tennis. And back then, YouTube or other videos and was not readily available or accessible for you to to watch. So those are trying times in terms of table tennis training.
All right, so let's skip forward a little bit. You you develop yourself. You work with your dad. You work with wherever you can find. You are skilled enough that you manage to make it onto a national juniors team or national team. Have some
Correct.
real coaching, and you take off. What kind of success did you have there?
Uh, I became when I entered the junior national team, I immediately became like number one in junior national team, and then a very short stint because of hard work and passion. I became number one in the whole men's team as well, and I was able to win six-time Philippine champion during those times that I was playing for the national team.
So what was the first year that you won?
I think it was 1996 or 97 that I won.
You don't look that old to me. That's that's quite a career, going back 20 years or so. How about a good story? Give me a good national team story.
So everybody, again, it was very difficult time for from my start in training, and also even when you go to the national team, because table tennis is not that popular sport in the Philippines. It doesn't have enough budget. It doesn't get enough sponsors. So with that in mind, we don't get enough equipments. We don't get enough exposures. We don't get enough training abroad. So whenever we go abroad for international tournament, it's like a chance of a lifetime, so to speak. So, and then and to think of it that you are in Asia where all the powerhouse are stacked. You have China, Singapore, South Korea, Japan, India, and it's like against all the worlds already. So, and top of the world. So, but still when we compete, even in junior or in national men's national team, we get to manage to to win decent medals and to place. I think the last Asian Games that I played, we finished nine in the whole Asia, or 11, between 9 and 11. We finished uh, the Asian Championship with that. So with that, I think I'm that those are my proud moments when I was playing, and considering the support that we have, and imagine if we have more support and we have financial backing from private and the government, um, that could be another story. I remember also I was playing with some junior players when we were like almost the same age, like Sharad Kamal of India. We were playing against them, and we were not too far. I think we finished second against India on my junior team, and Philippines was second, and then they won the gold.
So I guess a universal problem for us that aren't in the powerhouses, but Philippines having the same sort of sponsorship issue and lack of government
Correct.
support, even, and organizational support sometimes. You wonder what the U.S. could accomplish if we put all of our resources behind it, like we have with some other things.
I agree.
All right, so that's a good segue. Speaking of the U.S., so how did you get from there in the Philippines to here?
So even though when I was young, I knew my setup in Philippines is very difficult, and I knew that if I didn't have a dream, uh, and use my table tennis career, I won't be able to be in my position right now. So I try very hard, or work very hard, as a table tennis athlete, to get myself to US and be able to compete in the US, and from there, uh, we'll find a way. So in 2007, I think in 2001, I was given a chance to play a tournament here in the US, and I think it was a North American Table Tennis Championship or tournament, uh, sponsored by NATT. Then it was in Maryland. I won the under 21. That was my first tournament here in the US, and then I went back to Philippines, and I went back again to US on 2003 and 2007. But when I came back here, I have more experience playing and more exposure in international tournaments. So when I came back for good in year 2007, I was made, if I remember it correctly, I was consistently in top 5 in the whole US rating system. So
And where is here in the U.S.? Where did you settle?
in New York City, this is the place I considered my second home.
All right.
Really.
Did you come and then look for a job, or did you have a job that you came for?
No, I came just for table tennis, and I was, I don't know what I'm doing, specifically after that. I knew uh, table tennis would be my safe haven in terms of looking for a job, finding a job, and landing something. And true enough to what I was thinking, I was able to get my green card and U.S. citizenship through table tennis, and that's why I find table tennis a very integral part of my life, or not only my life, but the life that my family, my relatives, and all.
Yeah, it, it's a lifetime choice for a lot of us, but there aren't a whole lot of people making their livings in it. Most of us are
Correct.
still hobbyists in table tennis here. But all right, so second act for you, or maybe for you, the two acts were kind of concurrent. Moving on from being a player to being a coach. So I think I first met you. I did an interview of Michael Landers, and I think you were his personal coach. So give me an overview of how you got into coaching, and let's run from there and see if we can find another story or two.
Yeah. So when I moved in the U.S., when I moved to New York from Philippines, I was actively still playing then. So I was playing local tournaments, and uh, fortunate enough, I still have it, and I've been winning local tournaments here and there. Um, 3-star, 4-star, when you name it, I'll be there. Because I consider it like my profession already. So I was playing most of the tournament, and then uh, as I win tournaments, my connection expands, and people started to notice me. People started to know me, and one of those people I played in the tournament is Michael Landers. And after the tournament, his mom, yeah, I think it was his mom who approached me uh, if I could play with Michael and train with him, because his current coach that time has a day job that is conflicting. Uh, and of course, I was happy to accept. And I think it was a very good time for me, and it was a very good time for Michael. It's because when he was upcoming, he didn't only have a coach, but he had a training partner in my statue. So I think it was very beneficial for him during that time. Of course, it was financially beneficial for me. It's because I was getting good coaching, good hours from taking giving lesson with him and all other students. So that was the story with Michael, and I I think half of my coaching I owe it to him. It's because he was very talented and very hardworking person. I made my name in coaching. It's because half of it's because of him. It's because him representing me was a testament to what I could do as a coach. So that was the
And
start
just,
of it.
and just to state that very clearly, you were his primary coach when he won the national championship.
Yes, I was his primary coach when he won that controversial U.S. national championship, where all the top players or most of the top players withdrew because of the prize money. But back then it was he. I was also coaching him in the junior national team already, or the trial. So and he already made it. It was just a plus that winning that U.S. national championship that year, uh, that paved way to more coaching for me for others. So it was a blessing in disguise.
All right, so we'll keep writing the Michael stories here for a little while. I believe, let's see. So you said controversial. I remember writing an article about that back at the time too. There were 4 or 6 players that dropped out, that left an easier path to get there. I don't know that necessarily diminishes a championship. You play the people in front of you, but that didn't end his career. He didn't have one fluke. He went on and played at the Olympic trials. I think you were his coach there too, right?
Correct. So after winning that controversial U.S. national championship, I mean, I was hearing some noises on the side that it was a fluke. Okay, yeah, it might be a fluke because all the top players withdrew, but it was not his fault but he still had to win it. He still need to reach it. So uh, reaching that, he beat some 2,500 players. So again, it was not his fault. It was a blessing, but it's also still a challenge to win it. But so everybody was saying on the side that it was a fluke. Okay, and then but me and him made that more of a challenge, that it was not a fluke, and I think he was destined to be a top U.S. player. Uh, I mean, to be a white U.S. top player, a white man, wherein it's a Asian or a different dominated race, like more like Asian, dominating our sport. So having somebody like him have that passion and goal and that drive, I fuel that. Like I put more wood to that fire. So uh, we made that challenge, and true enough, come U.S. Olympic trials for London Olympics, all those guys that like didn't play, he faced most of them and beat them, in a very very good fashion. So from then, people admitted that it was not a fluke now, and I think he deserved that credit.
All right, so you when we were prepping for this, you told me another story about getting called back from a trip. So tell me about your Asian vacation cut short.
Yeah, so it was a little bit a last minute choice, or a last minute decision for the Landers team. I booked my family vacation to Asia, come North American Olympic trials. Uh,
which he had qualified for, and the U.S.
yes, yeah,
puts a team coach in that place at that time,
correct.
taking your job away from you, right?
Yes, yeah. So the U.S. coach I mean, the U.S. team has a line of coaches, men's coach. I don't remember who was it back then. So, but in U.S. Olympic trials, all the athletes brought their own coaches, and trainers, uh, fitness trainers, personal coaches were all, was working with them in the Olympic trials. So now comes like the North American trials, where the US players now have to work with the USATT coach. I think the players petitioned for against it. It's because, personally, I was working with my coach, and then all of a sudden next week I'll be coaching with a different coach who I never worked with for long, and never know you know, and this is a big tournament for them. But so, and I knew that they have a US coach. So I spoke to Michael and to Michael's mom that I'm gonna book a family trip, and at first, they were okay with it, so I went ahead. And but then as it comes by, and as the tournament gets close, you know, some people have cold feet already. And it's like, what are we doing? Like, are we gonna take our chance to work with somebody that you know the U.S. team will provide us, and or we're working with somebody that we've been working for years? So I think the U.S. team the USATT heard the petition of the players, and they agreed that okay, you could bring your personal coach for the North American team trials. So when that decision came out, I was already in Asia. So Michael and his mom, we spoke over the phone. We we talked about it, and so we made a team decision that I have to fly back and meet them in North Carolina, which the trials were was held. So I cut my vacation. I went to the trials and then went back to the vacation. So I don't want to piss my family off too. So, uh, but those I think that planning was a last minute thing. It again, it's not like really last minute, but it was, uh, it was not a good plan for everybody. So everybody was, caught a little bit, with surprise that that happened. So I mean, moving forward, it was best. The USATT had come up with a better decision with that.
It's still a good testament for you that the player that you're working with wants you to be there to give them the best chance to move forward. It's all good.
It's a story that I will tell for ages, because the trust that my players, gave to me, I think that speaks 1,000 words about my ability and my relationship with my players.
All right, so let's shift gears just a little bit. You're still sitting in front of that PingPod sign. You've got this new venture that you've launched in New York. Give me an idea of where you guys are and what you're doing. Maybe show us around.
Cool. Yeah. So from Philippines to US as a player and as a coach, now I'm turned into more of maneuvering myself to this new venture of PingPod. But before PingPod, I have a club that I put also, which is New York City Table Tennis Academy. I just find New York City very difficult in terms of playing space or real estate, because not only it's very expensive, uh, it's very crowded also, and every square footage that you find, it's gonna take, you know, your whole arm. So it was a nightmare, to speak, in terms of like finding the right place to play here in New York City, especially in Manhattan. But you know, if you go outside Manhattan, then okay, you could find some decent club, but not in the city. So we before that we have Spin, and that's the only place that we were playing, and then and even that became not conducive to training. It's because it's more focused to uh, giving corporate parties and corporate events.
It's a good place to
Oh,
have a drink.
correct. So it's a good place to have fun, but it's not ideal for serious practice. And once you get to it, you want to have more. So, and table tennis is a very addicting sport that that once you get into it, it's like you want more. You want more space, you want better light, you want better equipment, you want better competition, you want better practice. So those just all add up. And I always constantly try to find solution for that. So at first, I have all my students at Spin, and then I brought I we went all out, and we went to New York City Table Tennis Academy that I founded also with a group of my students. But that club is only temporary. We only have it for Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. So it's not like 7 days a week. So we want more, and all the table tennis enthusiasts, like me, want more. So I have a bunch of students that are constantly thinking of how we can provide better table tennis to, you know, to the players, to our members. and and there's PingPod. It came that's the birth of PingPod. And lucky enough, I found two partners that are very passionate about about table tennis, and about providing and improving table tennis in New York City, and in the US. And for sure, our goal is also to have, you know, a global brand. So PingPod is a network of table tennis studio, where we provide autonomous table tennis on demand, a network of autonomous table tennis studio, wherein uh, it's a small format compared to a traditional table tennis club that we all knew. Wherein there has to be 8 tables, and it has to be a massive space. So, but that doesn't work in New York City. Uh, if you have a massive space, that equates to a massive real estate and massive dollar amount. So with PingPod, the format is small, but we'll create a network. So think about it like a Starbucks or Dunkin' Donut, wherein every neighborhood of New York City, we plan to put one PingPod. So we're gonna have as I give you a tour of PingPod, it's at 3 to 4 tables in prime area, where it's in retail space, wherein you can see it from when you walk outside the street. Right now, most of the clubs in New York City are in basement. It's because that is way it's cheaper. So, and but to get in a retail space, it's a more difficult or a more challenging uh, amount for to rent. So, but there's a twist to PingPod. The twist of, with PingPod is that it's very technologically focused, wherein we use our softwares or our technology in booking our tables. So in a traditional way, you just walk in and start playing. While with PingPod, we make it more like technologically, um, how do I speak, like more uh, like advanced. So if you book, you just have to go to our web app, and you can see everything over there. And when you're inside PingPod, there is no employee, nobody inside. It's considered like a private table tennis club or studio, wherein all the food and drinks you could purchase, you could on your fingertips, the table tennis equipment, our merchandise, everything that you could think of. It's just more of an honor system. So yeah, so I have it on my computer, so I'm forgive me if it's like too far. So right now, this is PingPod. We have a customized uh, table color for us. It is made for PingPod only. And as you can see, when people walk or pass by, they can see table tennis. And people, when before coronavirus, people just like look at you, take picture of you. We have a
Take
lot of
video of you while
monitors.
you're.
Those monitors we're gonna serve like a lot of like purposes. Yep. So here, another one. I'm gonna go book again.
So it's a small.
It's gonna be so. You have to go to pingpod.com, create an account, and then once you create an account, you could choose the ground floor. And today we have 2 p.m. and you could check it out. And I have agreed and reserve it for 30 minutes. As a partner, as an owner, I could book it for free. But so right now you have that. So you can see this tap to unlock door. That's gonna be your access to PingPod. So right now PingPod is closed. So now you go to your screen and just tap that button, and it's gonna be unlocked, and then you get in. So that's how easy it is to reserve or get inside PingPod. Now, of course, you need to invite a friend if you're practicing with a friend. So you just copy and then send it to your friend. Then you could send it through WhatsApp, iMessage. You can cancel your reservation. And over here, as I mentioned to you, the food and drinks is right in front of you. You just take whatever you want and then charge yourself.
And the prices aren't that bad for New York.
Yeah, it's like all like whatever the pricing in Delhi store, it's all the same as what we have over here. And then as we go further, this technology, it's gonna be more. We can offer more, like in terms of the instant replay, matching algorithm, where you could be paired with other players. It's gonna be like a dating app where You could look for players that within your levels. So
Or for pretty ones,
everything's
you
over
want
here.
pretty playing partners.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, this is all like within your fingertips, and you don't need staff. Once you get in here, it's all like you know user friendly. We make it more friendly for everybody to use. So yeah, basically that's what we are doing here at PingPod. I think it's a new concept, a very unique concept that we provide, and and it's a good twist in table tennis to incorporate technology.
You know,
Excuse me.
to take that back full circle, you started off by saying when you were 12, you couldn't find a place to play. You know,
Yes.
where you were living. You're still addressing the same problem here, right? But
Yep. And
right, so that's probably a pretty good place to stop here today. I appreciate you taking the time to chat with me, and you know, as I say to everybody, I think others are going to enjoy listening to this chat after the fact as well. But just thank you very much for joining me here, and we'll try to do it again sometime. Okay.
yeah, thank you so much, Steve, for giving me opportunity to be with you in PongNow, and just to be here and to be considered to be interviewed. It's a very good thing. It's a pleasure, and uh, we hope to, like, by the time that you do our second interview, we'll have 10 ping pod all over New York and probably all over the US and soon globally.
All right. I look forward to seeing that happen. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Bye. Stay safe.